Hey Bookies! Today I'm going to go over books I would recommend to another Sims 4 family. So let's get started. So this Sims family, if you can see by the title, it is the BFFs. They're not really, well, I mean, they're like all roommates, which I guess is kind of a family. I don't know, I've never had roommates. But anyways, I thought they would be kind of fun because the thing about them is that, like, both of the female characters in the game are programmed to, like, the male character who is, I always forget his name, Travis. And Travis is just, I hate Travis. I hate his character so much so that I usually just delete his character when I start a new game. I dislike him that much. Anyways, so that is the family that we are working with, so we're going to go ahead and start. The first one is Summer Holiday. She wants to be the friend of the world, so she's very sociable, she's active, she's outgoing, and she is playful. I think that's what that candy cane one or lollipop one is. So I would recommend to her If This Gets Out and Kiss and Tell. If This Gets Out is by Sofie Gonzales and Cale Dietrich. It is about a boy band. Both of these are actually about boy bands. But two members of the boy band group, my little ticket from the book tour that I did with them, sell out. Two of the members of the boy band group start to see each other as more than friends, and they fall in love. But they are publicly, like, straight. They're in the closet, and when they decide that they want to go forward with their relationship and go public with it, the record label is having some issues with that notion. So it's a very, very interesting read, and I think that she would, I kind of see her as, like, a party girl, and she would be, like, really into boy bands and concerts, music, stuff like that. So I think this would be right up her alley. I also think that this would be up her alley because it's very, very similar. Basically, it's a boy band. One member of the group is publicly out, and at the beginning, he is having probably the worst breakup that I've ever read in a book. Oh my god, it's horrible. It just gets progressively worse as to what happens from there. But in order to save his image, his record label puts him with as dating as like a front to kind of ward away some of the negative attention. Dating this other member of another group, and it's about him trying to figure out, like, how to go from here post-breakup, but also dealing with the fact that his record label is doing the opposite of what that record label is doing in the other book, which is they're putting him in a very, very stereotyped box. And I really like this book because it goes into a lot about other factors. The main character, he is white and he is gay, so he experiences, like, you know, like one, if you think of, like, hate directed at a person as, like, serving cups. Like, he's getting, like, one serving cup, let's say. Otherwise, he's a white male. The other members in the group who are of different ethnicities, they are getting one or two scoops. The boy that he is intentionally dating, he is getting 3 scoops because he is, I believe he's Muslim, he's gay, and there's something with his family or something, I can't remember like that. But it talks a lot about, like, him finding out that he is, like, he doesn't have the biggest struggle in the world. I will put the word up here because it's totally escaping me, but it talks a lot about that, and I'm very, very appreciative of that talk in this book. Next up is Liberty Lee. She has, I think that's the scholar aspiration. I can't remember. But anyway, she's geeky, she's clumsy, and she's a bookworm. I kind of see Liberty as, like, the super brainy girl that that is, like, interested in science and stuff. That's usually what path I put her on if I'm playing her. So I am going to recommend her some dystopians. My favorite one is the Uglies series by Scott Westerfeld. And I really like it because it doesn't just talk about like the end of the world stuff, because the world is not like end of the world, it's more of a utopia. But that's a really interesting form of dystopian, is going into the utopian society, because in this society, in the Ugly series, everyone upon their 16th birthday, they get plastic surgery, they get made pretty, whereas otherwise without it they are seen as ugly. There's no opting out of it. It just happens whether you like it or not. But no one really has a problem with it, because why wouldn't you want to be pretty? Which is what our main character wants. All she wants is to be pretty. She's the youngest out of her friend group. Her last friend just left, got his pretty surgery, and he's over at the pretty society now, which is like they're all segregated and stuff like that. So like the littlies, which are the little kids, like the tweens, then the pretties that are like 16 to like through college, the adults, and then the oldies. So all our main character wants to do is just to be with her friends. She's waiting excruciatingly long time for it, and she keeps sneaking over to the pretty society to go and hang out with her friend, who of course is like older, and he's pretty. He doesn't want anything really to do with her. So one night when she is leaving, she encounters another girl who has not had her pretty surgery yet. They have a birthday on the same day, and they're both turning 16, and they instantly bond. They have a lot in common with each other, and Tally is pretty much obsessed with becoming pretty because it's only a couple months away. But when her new best friend, who's named Shay, tells her that she's not going to go through with it, she is actually going to run away with another group of friends, Tally doesn't really believe her at first. So, when the day of the pretty surgery, Shay is no longer there. Tally goes to go get her surgery, but she is told that she can't get it because her friend Shay is missing, and she supposedly knows where Shay went. So Tally is sent on this quest to go and recover Shay before she can have her surgery, which is being held over her head, like, you know, like a freaking doll to a child. But along the way, and trying to convince Shay to come home, she discovers that there's a lot more out there than what there is. And the whole series goes into about what society deems as beautiful and beauty standards and all that stuff. It's very, very insightful. And I think that Liberty would just be really into that and learning about it. And also the series has now been expanded, and it's very explosive. It's very, very well done. I also think that she would be really into the Life as We Knew It series, because I think that this is a very, very, I think out of all the dystopians that I've read, I think this one is one of the more probable, I think. Of course, you know, books like The Handmaid's Tale, you know, that's already happening. But when you have, when you're talking about Life as We Knew It, I'm talking about things that are probability, but something that we can't change with action or inaction or whatever on our part. The story is, and it's told through journal format throughout the whole series. Our main character, like, she's kind of like at the younger end of her teenage years, and she's a typical teenager until one day, I think it's a meteor that hits the moon and it knocks it closer to the Earth. And then if you don't know about the moon controls a lot of stuff that happens on the Earth. The gravitational field, the tides. So there's a lot of flooding. There's a lot of cataclysmic disasters that happen on Earth. And then the ending result of that in the time since then, which is kind of where the books really take off, is the aftermath of that event happening where the moon is not closer to the Earth. There's the cat, I'm sorry. Is really what sets this book apart, because it talks more about survival than about the event itself. And I think that is really enduring, and I think that Liberty would find that super interesting to see about a survival novel through the eyes of a young teen. And then the last one that we have is the one that I really hate. His name is Travis Scott. I hate him so much. But he is scholarly? I'm not entirely sure. But into knowledge, like Liberty, he is geeky, he is outgoing, and he is self-assured. So I think that if I ever played with Travis and he didn't annoy the crap out of me, that I would make him into like a little computer nerd. I think that he would be a bit of a computer nerd, so he might like these two books that talk about coding and hacking. This one I have talked about previously, but I absolutely love it. It's called If You Then Me by Yvonne Woon. Basically, in this book, a young girl is accepted into a prestigious program. She has developed this AI that uses the algorithm to determine like how a person is, and then predicts responses that an older self to them, like a 5-year older self of that person, might say back to them based on their algorithm. It's really interesting, but when she goes to this prestigious program, she finds out that she might not be the smartest person in the room, let's say. She is super smart, but it's really a lot of her own feelings that are making her feel this way. Because a lot of the people that are there are super privileged and they're kind of like that. Anyways, so feeling like that she's not good enough to be there, she seeks out options on her own to get her AI program out there. But when she teams up with someone who might not be the best fit for her, things kind of come crashing down, and she has to figure out what to do from there. It's a super sweet contemporary book, filled with a lot of coding and stuff like that, and I think that he might be really into this. I also got sent this book recently that was told to me was a hacker book, and it is Mouse by Scott Stedman. I'm just going to read the back because I've not read this yet. I'm really behind in reviewing books, so I'm going to review it soon, but have not now at the time of this video. So it is 12-year-old Mouse Gamma has spent her entire life struggling to communicate. She's never understood how to stop the bullies and negligent foster parents without causing more trouble than it's worth. That is until she discovers the magic of code, a language that's more powerful than anything she's ever imagined. To everyone's surprise, Mouse is anonymously chosen to attend the prestigious Rickham Academy, an incubator for the brightest and most promising young minds in tech. Her excitement is short-lived, as the mystery of how she ended up at Rickham is very quickly unravels around her, threatening the safety of her new life and the innocent lives of those around her. With the help of her new friends, Ada and Boone, Mouse is in a race against her classmates, her teachers, and the most powerful man in tech to not only discover the truth about who she is, but who she is not. It sounds super interesting, and again, hacking, coding, all that fun stuff. I think you'd be interested in this, and I am too. So yeah, that is everyone that is in the BFF's household. If you have a Sims family that you would like to ask me to recommend books to, leave them down below. And that is it, everyone. So thank you all for watching. See you again. Bye.